Welcome to the channel, and today we'll be dissecting Eminem's Warning with the Chloraseptic remix that addressed the hate of revival and warned us about what was to come. Of course, hindsight is 2020, but it's now clear to see how this remix set the tone for Eminem's next album, Kamikaze. This remix of Chloraseptic came out of nowhere, and Kamikaze followed the same release strategy of the Chloraseptic remix, and the internet went bonkers upon its release, and today we'll be breaking it down. As always, before we get started, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel and turn on notifications. Eminem starts his verse quite fast here at 8.4 syllables per second, giving us a taste of what's to come, and starts off by comparing his rap skills to that of Bin Laden.
Bin Laden with a pin, bodying again, I begin slaughtering your men, probably should have been, Ali get a spin, golly embodiment of sin.
Here, Eminem refers to his bars as that of a terrorist attack that comes out of nowhere to take out as many people as possible with minimal effort, and Osama bin Laden is considered to be the most infamous person of the 21st century. In addition, Svengali, mentioned towards the end, is a person who exercises a controlling or mesmeric influence on another, which is usually for a sinister purpose. And Eminem also refers to the 2011 Taliban attacks that took place at the Kabul Intercontinental Hotel.
Like a Saudi and the Taliban plotting an event in a lobby at an Intercontinental with an obvious intent, and I would not even relent.
And ends that section by also referring to the 2001 September 11 attacks on the Pentagon in the United States. The next bars are quite genius if you know the story behind the man mentioned.
Back and forth, like Jack Kevorkian's asked the court.
This wasn't the first time Eminem rhymed with Jack Kevorkian. He's mentioned him in a couple of freestyles, and Kevorkian was even mentioned on Bad Meets Evil EP on Fast Lane. Jack Kevorkian was an American pathologist and euthanasia proponent. Euthanasia is the painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable or painful disease or irreversible coma. And Kevorkian was tried 4 times for assisting suicide, so he was in quote, back and forth, and during this period the media portrayed Kevorkian with the name Dr. Death. Critics have been hammering Eminem's content as immature.
Rap mature, why can't you be like Macklemore? Why you always gotta smack a whore?
His albums may not be filled with songs that are dubbed mature by industry standards, but he's always had mature songs, and Revival even had more mature songs than the usual, but was still panned. I still remember reading one of the reviews of Revival on Metacritic in which the reviewer claimed he was done listening as soon as he heard Framed from the album. But if you ask me, this reviewer shouldn't be reviewing any of Eminem's albums, as his music is clearly not targeted at someone with his sense of humor. It is also worth noting that Eminem considers Macklemore to be dope, and I believe Eminem should move far away from rapping about political topics. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the political songs on Revival, but with these PC critics, he's already too far gone for them to change their opinion of him, and I've been burned out by CNN. And Eminem drops this.
Yet you keep coming back for more.
They say Eminem has been terrible since Encore, but his hardcore fans are still around to this day. Until the end of 2018, Eminem still had the largest fan base in hip-hop and sold more Kamikaze albums than any other rapper that released before or after him in the year. And we discussed more on this in our previous video about Eminem's 2018 stats. You can check this out at the link that pops up now. Critics claim he's making terrible music, yet as soon as an Eminem album drops, it gets all the attention from media journalists who give bad reviews to get clicks to their websites. The next bars,
not as raw as I was, walk on water sucks, bitch suck my dick,
are directed at a couple of critics and even fans that claimed Walk on Water sucked. This is directed at the likes of Pitchfork that wrote, even Beyonce couldn't save Walk on Water, and others like Baldwin and Tyler the Creator, who also tweeted about how Walk on Water was trash. Pitchfork talking about how Beyonce couldn't save the song like Eminem needed Beyonce fans to achieve some success. In fact, I'd like to know in the comment section below, how many of you also listen to Beyonce, since my personal experience is simply anecdotal. And if you believe Walk on Water was trash, refer back to how Eminem ended that bar. I bet you that if Kamikaze followed the same release strategy as Revival, it wouldn't have been as successful because critics would have had enough time to engineer the thoughts of these plastic fans.
Y'all saw the track list and had it fit before you heard it, so you formed your verdict while you sat with your arms crossed.
Revival was even considered trash before it released in a show hosted by the usual suspects Eminem dissed on Kamikaze, and you think Eminem is at a point in his career where he should be talked about with respect that he's earned over the past decades, but nope. And this is one area his skin color doesn't do him any favors. In the next bars, Eminem is saying what everyone knows about hip-hop in this era.
But nowadays, every flow, every cadence sound the same.
And this is the one time you'd think media journalists would do their job and call out these rappers using the same flows over and over again. But it seems that the more similar a new rapper sounds to the next big mumbler, the more he is likely to succeed. And cadence in that Eminem bar simply means rhythm of sounds and words. While critics like Q magazine that reviewed Revival as Eminem has never sounded more like a man out of time, reviews like this only have the opposite effect on an artist like Eminem.
Brains a powder cake, I draw inspiration out of hate, real pain in the paper, I don't trace.
These critics pretty much handed Eminem another year in hip-hop, which was 2018, a year in which Eminem sold more albums than any musician in the United States across all genres of music. Powder keg in that bar is pretty much gunpowder, which is Eminem suggesting that hate will only lead him to blow up even more. And pain is described by Eminem as something that's real in his lyrics and coming from within him, unlike rappers who have ghostwriters, and Eminem suggests that lyrics from those rappers are like traced drawings. If you look at the top 5 musicians based on overall music consumption in the United States in 2018 according to Bars Angle's year-end report, Eminem is the only one that feels out of place, and is also the only one from the 90s. The rest could pass as singers, and not many people would argue with you.
But if I look strange and out of place, it's cause I'm an alien, that's why I write to the pages out of space!
And Eminem plays on sounds here that create a double meaning, out of space and outer space, which is where Eminem suggests he's from. Eminem has reached a level of wordplay where those who get it have gotten spoiled by his constant cleverness, while others don't even bother listening to understand.
So rewind it to your high school dance till the night before, if you think you promised tomorrow.
In the United States especially, prom is a special night for seniors who are sent off as they look to the future with life after high school, and the prom night dance is one of the main events of prom night. After prom night, you have so much potential, but if you think your prom is tomorrow, think again. See how many rappers have made it to the top and fallen off within Eminem's decades of dominance. And remember, once you lose the moment, there's no getting it back. Reminiscing of the night before prom doesn't take you back to the days where prom is tomorrow, does it? Eminem then moves on to talk about how he intends to metaphorically mess up his critics.
Show me who to rip, it's time for you to get screwed, empty the lubricant and put super glue in it.
I'm not going to elaborate on this, but what Eminem suggests by using super glue is that once he puts his attention on you, he's not stopping, so expect to be kicked even when you're down and out. In a way, this is Eminem suggesting that you should think it through before criticizing him, as the consequences will be lasting. And in the next bars, Eminem reminds critics about how many rappers he's gone through already in his career. Eminem set the bar so high with his first 3 albums that critics always go back to his first project when reviewing his newer projects, and Eminem is sick of this.
But am I supposed to sound like everything else out? Cause I don't get compared to it, only myself now.
The reason for this is quite obvious, because his only real competition has been himself, but it is also easy to see the hypocrisy of critics. For one, you need to remember that his first 3 albums also didn't get super high review scores to begin with. For instance, his highest rated project, MMLP, is only a 78 on Metacritic. A 78 for a rap album is nothing on Metacritic, when Astro World and Invasion of Privacy both outscored the MMLP. So even based on critical score, why do critics refer back to his first 3 projects when they didn't even review this project excellently to begin with? The next bar is exactly how I see fans who got sweet-talked by critics before Revival released, or for political reasons turned their back on Eminem.
Now when I can see the fair with the fans and sales down, but the only way I care is if I let myself down.
Even Kamikaze's success is a far cry from the success of the 2013 MMLP2 album that has now sold over 10 million equivalent units globally. It is also worth noting that MMLP2 sold 3.8 million pure copies globally in 2013 alone, despite releasing in November 2013, with less than 2 months to go according to the IFPI. Notice how Eminem says fair weather fans and sales down also makes sense when sales is replaced with sales. Sales are usually down when the weather is fair. And Eminem sends one the way of mumble rappers.
But what the fuck have I woke to? Time to eat the vocals and shit out Pro Tools.
This is Eminem pretty much stating how he doesn't understand how critics prefer music with processed, eaten up vocals with softwares like Pro Tools, which mumble rappers are known to mostly use. Critics want him to go ill and back to the period of his first 3 albums, and it's common to hear statements like "we want old Eminem back." But we got Kamikaze, and I'm glad we got it as a surprise album before any social engineering occurred. Just check out the professional reviews of Kamikaze to see what I mean. Bad critical reviews weren't the only thing that affected Revival. Critics have been giving Eminem bad reviews since the Slim Shady LP days, and in my opinion, this was the culprit.
Then I took a stand when it tan-faced and practically cut my motherfucking fan base in half and still outsold you.
Critics never had influence over Eminem, but politics is a different ball game. You see, politics and religion, those two things change the game. But what do you know? Only Eminem has the right to call Revival a flop based on his own standards, because as it turns out, only Kendrick Lamar's Damn at 1.3 million sold globally outsold Revival at 1.1 million sold. But remember, Damn released in April 2017 compared to Revival that released in December 2017, and over 900,000 copies of Damn were from the United States alone, but Revival was the polar opposite at less than 300,000 copies from the United States, and Eminem ends it by giving us a hint at what's to come.
I just added to the fuel in my rocket pack till I'm ready to respond, then I'ma launch it at him.
Like I said before, hindsight is 2020, and Eminem's rocket wordplay at the end of his verse was a hint at Kamikaze. All the hate was just used as fuel for another year of shady dominance. And if you'd like to support the channel, consider donating to our PayPal at the link in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this.